Hey guys, and welcome to Mangotology. My name is Steven Mango, and I'm an ex-Scientologist that works here on YouTube to expose Scientology. So if you haven't done so already, please make sure to go down below, click on that subscribe button, as well as the bell icon right next to it so you stay notified whenever I release a new video. So today I wanted to talk about how to leave Scientology, or how to help even a loved one leave Scientology, how to help them get unbrainwashed and establish themselves out in the real world without connection to Scientology. Now this video is highly longly awaited and requested, and I finally decided to sit down and make this video because I know that basically YouTube is a search engine, right? And when you guys are typing in Scientology or any other keywords surrounding Scientology, my videos are going to come up, and I know that a lot of different people who may have like a loved one or someone that they care about who's in Scientology, they may wonder like, how do I help this person? Like, do I start showing them critical videos? Do I show them like Leah Remini's television show? Like, what is the best way to wake them up? And people don't know, unless they've had experience with Scientology, like how to leave, how to help someone, and what is the best approach, because it is a cult that isn't just like surface level where it's like, we pray and we believe in Jesus and in his name we pray, amen. Like, it's not that simple. Like, Scientology has so many different systems, and it's like a big spider web, and it's like all the spider web cobwebs are just like surrounding and surrounding and surrounding, and like you're trying to peek out and then there's something else stopping you and something else, and like you're trying to get through the web and you get pulled back in. And that's kind of what is happening with the Scientologists when they're kind of in that push and pull with the church. And I do have some tips on how to help people, how to get Scientology to stop calling you. That's all different things that we're going to talk about today. I know that with me, if you try to show me critical things when I was in Scientology, I would have pushed that person away and just deem them a suppressive person. So it really does take the right approach, the right person, and I have some analogies and other things to help you guys kind of understand this. But just know that Scientology has a very complex system. They know how to handle people, in their words, who want to leave, who may be having doubts, how to like shut off and suppress all those thoughts. They have a justification and a reason for everything, and they're going to continue to make the outside world appear like the most dangerous, evil place that you can be, and you're going to lose your spiritual eternity and freedom if you renounce Scientology and you don't have anything to do with it anymore. And it's very scary, and I know that people don't know what to do when they have like a friend or someone they care about, and they know because they've been watching Scientology on television, or they've been following on YouTube, or they watch my channel. They're like, wow, like I don't want my sister involved in Scientology, when I see like what the truth actually is from an ex-member like Steve Mango. Now, I think the best way to analogize this for you guys, if you don't know, it's kind of like being an addict in a way, where the person needs to hit their own rock bottom before they're willing to get help. And I know that doesn't sound very encouraging to say that, because you want to believe all you can say is, hey, Scientology is bankrupting and robbing their members. Come with me, never go back again. The person can be like, okay, this isn't like a church you go to on Sunday and you sit in the back pew and then you leave in the corner and maybe you donate, $10 in the bucket thing, and that's it. And that's your experience with your church. And if you don't go back, you're like, okay, fine. This is something that you live your every single day life as like a Scientologist. You might work for them, you live with them, you rent from one, you only want to do business or shop with other Scientologists, like whatever it is. Your whole life is surrounded by Scientology. You're going up the bridge, they're helping you with your personal problems. You can't get help for mental health, so Scientology is offering the solution to that. So if you have depression, anxiety, like any of those things, you only believe Scientology can help you with that. So it becomes that prison of belief, and you think that Scientology is the only way out of the spiritual trap that you're in. And once you have like these wins and realizations, it's just very, very complicated. And I guess on like more of a positive spin on that, every single person, including myself, who's ever in Scientology has like a little doubt in the back of their mind. And that little doubt tells the person, and it says, hey, like something may not be right here. Like there's something off. Or remember when they asked you for $45,000 last night? Like, why is the church needing me to donate that when I may not even make that in a year? Like, why would they tell me to put myself in personal risk, honestly risk, financially, or with my house or with my car, like any of these things? Why would my church want me to ruin myself to better them when they're saying that they're around to help other people like myself, but I'm the person coming for help and they're telling me to ruin myself and be worse off than how I came in? Like, how does this make any sense? So you get like some of these little doubts, but then you get pushed a little bit deeper into the fold. And it's just very important to know that even if you do start giving them some critical information, you have to really toe the line properly if you're trying to help someone leave versus if you're leaving for yourself. And that's a whole different story on how to leave Scientology for yourself. If you're trying to help like your sister in the Sea Org or something, I mean, again, you have to understand also what their involvement is. Did they take a $50 book and lecture course? They've been in for 3 weeks at Celebrity Center and you could tell them, hey, you're crazy, like come out, and the person's gonna be like, okay, it's a $50 course. I don't care so much. It like didn't mean anything to me. Or is the person OT8, OT7, even clear? Those are very huge milestones that you've spent years and years and years of your life to accomplish. You're going to be deeper in the fold than the person obviously do the $50 book course. Now, what about, say, if you're on staff? That's another level of Scientology. Never mind if you were in the Sea Org and you sign a billion-year contract and you live your whole entire life by the aims of L. Ron Hubbard Scientology. You get maybe like 2 days off a year. You're sun up to sundown, if you even get any sleep, if you meet your statistics or not, right? So you're basically a prisoner at Scientology. They give you maybe a bunk bed of 3 people on it, stacked 5 across with like 20 people in one room. And, that person is going to be in a different mindset if they're willing to commit their life to Scientology and its Sea organization. Now, yes, you're able to leave and get help. Obviously, so many people have left the Sea organization, but you have to realize to those people, they feel that they have no skills. The outside world is dangerous. It's psychiatry. It's drugs. It's like the worst thing in the world to be on the outside world, and only Scientology is able to help these people. And they think that they have like no credit, no money, no job, no car, no house, no friends, no one on the outside world. It's too scary to take that leap. Could you imagine like right now if you had to be like, okay, I'm going to move from California to Zimbabwe. You're going to be like, and you only get $50 a week, say for a whole year, and you're spending that on toiletries maybe, or like whatever personal sort of stuff. And it's funny because Jeff always says to me, like, how do they afford Gelson's, which is across the street from Celebrity Center? You always see Sea Org members in Gelson's, and a salad there from the salad bar is like $15 or something like that. It's like, how do they afford to get lunch at Gelson's when it's like people who work a normal job can't afford Gelson's all the time? But anyways, the Sea Org, those people are just heavily, heavily indoctrinated. And, going back to what I was trying to say with the Zimbabwe sort of thing, you might get $50 a week. You don't know anyone. Say they speak a different language. You're told Zimbabwe is the worst place in the world. If you go to Zimbabwe, you're going to be drugged and hypnotized. You're never going to go and be spiritually free, like whatever. And then you're going to feel like, oh, okay. Like, and then you have to go off into this whole like mystical world. You're like, I'm almost safer here in California. Even if in California you're being flogged and whipped, you're going to feel like, oh, it's a safer bet than going off to some other world. And that's kind of how it is. And I know there's a lot with abuse and these people, it's almost like when you love your abuser type of thing, and it's just a very complicated thing. I'm telling you guys, I have issues from Scientology. I left basically 2013-ish, and it's been, 6 years, and I still daily have reminders of Scientology, or I think about different things, or I'm not sure what's my thoughts and what Scientology's thoughts. So don't be discouraged if you're trying to help someone and they don't want your help right away, or they don't come out, or like they're still struggling. Like, it takes years and years and years. And I was just public. I wasn't in the Sea Org. So you could imagine the level of indoctrination that happens in Scientology. So it is a very tough, tricky circumstance. Now, like I was saying about the little voice in your head, you have to be careful because you don't want the person to label you as suppressive. You want the person to know that you are there for them, you care about them, you might have heard different things about Scientology, and you want them to be safe and know that if you ever need help, you want to leave, you want to stay, you need money, like whatever help you're able to offer, like sleep in my guest room, whatever, or I can employ you with my company. You have to be able to let them know that they're safe with you, that you're not like this evil person trying to drug them on psych drugs, like go see a psychiatrist. Like, you're not doing that, hopefully, because that's too steep of a gradient for them. You just have to slowly build the critical thinking part of their brain back again and slowly introduce things like, hey, Scientology, paying tens of thousands of dollars to go on course when you can walk into any other church and they're willing to help you for free, or a small donation, or a Bible study, or something, right? And just slowly planting those little seeds of doubts that they already are kind of having. So if you say something that strikes a chord with them, they're already thinking that, oh yeah, I was kind of hearing about Leah Remini, and she was talking about how in the Sea Org, you're fed rice and beans and punishment, or just like little things. And it's like, oh yeah, I was kind of fed rice and beans last week because my statistics were down. And slowly you're going to start waking that person up. If they trust you, if they'll even talk to you. It is, again, you have to figure out if you're going to see this person again, if you're able to, if you're on a phone call and it's your one phone call a year to the person, it's going to be handled differently. You really have to strategize. Again, would love to say that I can help every single person who emails me or has questions about their loved one and stuff. I want to make these videos so you guys can hear it. That could apply to hopefully a lot of your circumstances, and it answers a lot of your questions. I would love to be able to answer hundreds of emails per day. I can't. I love reading them all, but I can't help every single person. I know it sounds bad. I wish I could. I make these videos to try to get this information out far and wide to hundreds of thousands of people, hopefully. But, if it's, again, your loved ones, it's just very, very tricky. Depends if they're staff, if they're public. If they're public, it's going to be so much easier to talk to them than if they're in the Sea Org, because they're going to go right back into their Sea Org base and they're working and living there 24/7. So if it does come to where you may know someone who's in the Sea Org, you have to let them know about the Aftermath Foundation. Now, the Aftermath Foundation was set up by Mike Rinder, and there was a whole different bunch of board members from the Aftermath television show, and they help to get Sea Org members back on their feet. They give them money, they give them jobs, cars, housing, anything they need to get established on the outside world, which is wonderful. But the person has to be willing to want to leave and get that type of help. And if they don't know it exists, then they can't make that decision for themselves. I'm telling you, even when my own family or parents were critical about Scientology, I wouldn't be willing or wasn't willing to leave Scientology when they were trying to make it about them, leave Scientology. Don't do it anymore. It's bad. It's horrible. It's okay, screw you. It's my faith. Then, of course, I'm going to think they're suppressive, they're evil, they don't want me to do well in life, blah, blah, blah. But if they're starting to say, you have no money, you gave up your car, you sold your apartment, all this sort of stuff for your church, and they're still asking you for more money, those little things would, for me as a public, would start waking me up to some of the realities, and then I can make the decision to leave on my own. It's just like an addict. If you see someone doing drugs every day and you say, stop doing drugs, they're not going to stop doing drugs. It's so sad. You love the person, but they're not going to stop. I mean, you would hope, but, ultimatums, it's just so different with Scientology. If it's you wanting to leave Scientology and you're watching this video and you somehow were able to get out of the mind trap enough to actually Google or look up Scientology, the best thing to do is change your phone number. Don't answer any of their calls. I don't care if they're saying, come in for a free ARC break session, you have a misunderstood word, the DFP wants to talk to you, this person, that person, your registrar is calling you, come in for this closed door briefing. They'll do anything to get people to come back. They know when people are leaving nowadays, guys. Scientology is not stupid. We want to try to say, just don't show up for a little while and you could still be in good standing. No, they declare people as suppressive now if they haven't been in Scientology for 3 weeks. That's just how it's going now. They know people are trying to fly under the radar to not get declared. So what are they doing? Declaring those people. Why? Because they want to show people you have to stay on course or you're going to get declared a suppressive person, then your family breaks up, whatever. So there's no more of this flying under the radar, at least as easily as it once was. Not everyone gets declared in this circumstance, but a lot of people now are getting declared for that. But I think that you have to, again, not answer your phone at all. Change your number. Move if you could. I changed my number and I moved. That's how bad it was. Like, they show up to your house, there's going to be people coming over, knocking on your door, especially if you've been there for a while. You need to, like, cleanse your soul of Scientology, start new, start fresh, rebuild your life. Don't have them infiltrating your mind and your thoughts, like always, like going like this. Don't let Scientology do that anymore to you. You've experienced that probably enough in your life. So the best thing I would say to do, again, change your number, whatever. If you have Scientologists that you work for, maybe right before you leave Scientology, apply and get another job before you get declared or before you leave Scientology and they find out or anything. Apply for a job not with the Scientologist. That's what I would do. Like, if you're planning to leave in like 2-3 weeks, get a new job, apply for jobs, go to a new city, start sending out resumes, whatever you have to do in order to get out of your Scientology employer. You may have a safe job, work there for 20 years. I don't care. You'll tell me every excuse in the book. I don't want to hear it. You're leaving your Scientology employer. You don't want to be getting their money. You don't want to be dealing with their politics about giving money to the church. They'll be operating with TRs and with Scientology management principle and org boards and all of that. You have to get out of the mindset, okay? So get a new job. I was going to say, like, if your partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever is a Scientologist, you have to say, look, I'm not in the church. You want to be in the church, then go in the church and we're not going to be together. Or you have to come out of the church. Or do it, and I'm not going to be involved in any way with it. It really depends on what kind of relationship this is, how long it's been going on for. It's going to come down to it regardless that you guys are going to have to break up. So why not just say, at this point, you know that the Scientologist is going to break up with you, say, I'm leaving Scientology. You're either going to leave the church or, you know, we're breaking up. And the person might choose you. It's happened a lot of the times. And maybe don't give Scientology the power or the Scientologist the power to still be in the church and be in the relationship with you, because then it's still going to impact your life, maybe your finances, your communication. That partner, boyfriend, girlfriend might be reporting to Scientology on you. You don't want to deal with any of that. So figure out your deal with your partner. If you live with Scientologists, go on Craigslist, find someone for the love of God who is not a Scientologist to live with. Don't rent by them. Don't sign contracts with Scientologists. It always leads to poor things happening in this world. You don't want to deal with living with Scientologists, especially when they're giving all their money to Scientology. They may not be able to pay the rent 1 month, and you don't want to deal with eviction and all that sort of stuff. So I would say, even though you love your Scientologist friends or you live with them, whatever, get out. I know you may want to, like, even for me, like when I had friends that were Scientologists and I was trying to invite one to my wedding, and then she was trying to tell me about how in Dianetics, gay people are equivalent to sexual perverts and criminals and all that sort of stuff. Like, oh yeah, like I really want to invite you into my wedding now. And I was coming out to her, and then I hear about how Dianetics, oh, it's just a small little mention. It's like, yeah, okay, Buffy, it's a small little mention, like calling one of you guys out. It was, yeah, maybe a small little mention, but it's a very important, critical little mention in Dianetics that is hating towards a specific type of person. So you have to just really, like, remove yourself from the environment and the circumstance of being connected to Scientologists in any way. I know you love your family. I know you love all these different people in your life, but you shouldn't stay abused. Like, you should be the one who's the hero who leaves the church in hopes that all your friends and family follow suit with you. You don't want the Scientologists to then have the power to say, oh, maybe we can get this person to come back, whatever. No, you want to be like, hey, you want a relationship with me? You want to value our, you know, family relationship? Then come out of the church, because the church that's telling you that we can't be connected because you believe one way and I believe another way, you know, this group is maybe more toxic than you think. So you have to, like, think about those type of things, because that's another. Well, I'll give this example. I had a friend, and I met her, and this was a few years ago. I didn't know her in the church, but I knew her after, and she was in Scientology. Her parents were these, like, OT level Scientologists, and she was leaving Scientology. She wasn't speaking out, obviously, like as vocal as I was. She was actually meeting a lot of, like, critics and different people. There would be, like, these little events, like a couple of years ago, of, like, these ex-Scientologists that would get together and would, you know, kind of be like a support system for each other type of thing. And she came to maybe 1 or 2 with me, and I still really like her. If she's watching this video, there's no shade about her in, like, any way, but her family was trying to put ultimatums on her to say not speak out about Scientology, not talk to other critics like me, and then they have the power to almost control her via Scientology. Like, we won't have a relationship with you if you hang out with Steve Mango or talk to other Scientology critics. And then you're playing almost by Scientology's rules. And then it's almost like you're kind of still involved in Scientology in a way if you're playing by the rules of other Scientologists that are trying to dictate to you about whether or not you can speak out or whether or not you can leave the church to begin with. Now, I'm not saying that I don't blame this person for wanting to stay in good communication with her family or her mom or her dad. I understand why she was upset. You know, she would say, for example, talk to me and other ex-members about how her family was disconnecting from her, and I understand it's a very hard thing to deal with. I couldn't imagine if it was my own, like, mom or my dad. But on the other hand, you have to know that Scientology's policy. If you're leaving Scientology, like, that's what it's going to be, and, you know, restart your life. And I know it sounds so much easier than actually is, you know, said and done, but what happened was the family was trying to put so much ultimatums on her, and ultimately when she wasn't able to comply, they just disconnected from her. So she had to disconnect, say, from me, from other ex-members, couldn't be friends with us on social media, all this sort of stuff. And then later on, it just came out that the family was disconnecting from her anyways. So basically what it was a handling where they were trying to see if they could get her to come back into Scientology. I think the way to do it is, like, don't play Scientology's game. Just say, hey, I'm not going to be involved anymore. Whatever, this is the information that I've heard about the church. You make your own decision, but I'm not going to be a part of it. Don't start saying, not speaking out your truth or saying different things because you don't want, you know, your family to not disconnect from you, because they're going to disconnect from you anyways unless you go back to Scientology. Like, they are all operating by Scientology's policy. And the other thing that I see a lot of people doing too is actually showing the contradictions of Scientology's policy letters. I know that it may be, again, playing Scientology's game by, like, Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard said this and said that, and they'll go back and forth with you. But if you happen to have been a former Scientologist or you look up different references, you'll see the contradictions, because Scientologists speak Scientology. So if you can prove them wrong with their own policy letters, I think that's also something that's very powerful, because you know of Hubbard as a source. So if Hubbard is source and he's the source of everything, if you can show different things that are harmful, if you even show, like, say, like, the stance on homophobia and all these different things that, you know, were the stance in the 50s and 60s, those things don't evolve and they don't change in Scientology. It's different, because I think I was even reading, I think it was maybe like the Mormon Church, or I think it was the Mormon Church, and they said now that gay couples won't be considered, like, condemned to hell. They don't say approve of gay couples, but if you are a Mormon and you happen to be gay, they don't, like, shun you. There's some new rule, again, Google it, guys, because I'm not sure exactly, because I don't really, like, keep up with other faiths besides the drama, if you will, about Scientology, so I don't know. But see, they may be able to evolve, because they're not stuck in 1952 with L. Ron Hubbard. So they may be able to change their stance. Even if Scientology is willing to be like, oh, we're not really homophobic in 2019, they can't change their belief system in any way, or that's altering Hubbard's policy. There was actually an article too recently posted from Elizabeth Moss from The Handmaid's Tale, and she's an actress. Whenever I do an interview about Scientology, people always ask me about her. I really don't know much about Elizabeth Moss. I didn't meet her in Scientology or anything, so I don't really know much. I don't think she was really considered, like, super famous back when I was in Scientology as she is now, but she posted something, or said it recently, where she said, hey, you know what, I'm a Scientologist, whatever, I just don't stand by these policies. I don't think it's right. I have a lot of gay friends, or I am totally supportive of that, but Scientology's stance on being gay is effed up, essentially. And celebrities have a whole different experience in Scientology, as we all know. If I said that and I was a Scientologist, I would be in ethics, I'd be in correction. What don't you understand? What don't you get about the policy? Why are you, talking to these gay 1-1s? They're criminals, they're perverts, all these different things. But if you're a celebrity and you go through the celebrities office at Celebrity Center, then you could say what you want. Even if she almost basically made a statement against her own church, which is actually really unbelievable that she even did that. can't imagine speaking out against Scientology as a Scientologist like that, but still promoting them. I don't know, it's just very weird. But again, guys, you have to, like I said, keep in mind, it's almost like if you're trying to help a loved one, it's like trying to help an addict. You have to really understand that they have to hit their own rock bottom before they can get their own help. Have resources, have information available, but just know that they may not reach out for it right away. They may not leave Scientology overnight or in a month or 6 months or a year, and that's okay. Let them be able to come to terms with Scientology on their own schedule, because then if they do want to leave, then they'll be gone for good, versus like you're forcing someone to do something that may not be like true or real for them. So they have to kind of wake up to it. But again, they all have their own voice. If you want to leave, don't be reading the books, don't be getting, inviting them into your home, change, move, whatever. I've seen a lot of people too, if you don't care about being declared, or if you don't have family or friends in, or you're not worried about the drama, like almost like what I could have done because I didn't have family in at the time, write a letter to and forward it to COB, right, through church lines, and say, these are all the off-policy actions that I've witnessed. These are all the horrible things that happened to me in Scientology. Put it all in writing. This is why I don't support the organization anymore. This is it. If you declare me a suppressive person, do it, because I have no intention of coming back. Don't ever call me. Put me on your dead files. Like, don't ever send me mail. Just make it very clear, like, what you have to lose. If you already want to leave, or you don't want to go back, or they're abusing you, or whatever it is, go write a letter, forward it to all church terminals, your registrar, the director of processing, your auditor, whoever. Like, send the letter out really far, and they may still try to handle you. They may be like, oh, this person could be handled. They're just watching television. They're listening to critics. It's not real. Like, they may see it like that. But if you're really like, no, like, there's no handling me or rescuing me, I want nothing to do with you, then you might have a good chance at having your break, if you will. And if they do call you and you answer the phone, or they call from a blocked number or something, just start reading OT3 materials. Start talking about all the dangers of Scientology, like right on the phone. And they're not going to want to call you again at that point if you're starting to talk to them about Xenu. So that's just another way to get them to stop calling you, because even with me, it took months and months to get them to stop calling. I did change my phone number. I know a lot of people don't want to necessarily just pick up to change my phone number, because you might be doing it for work or for like other purposes, but it's important to change your number to like kind of have like that fresh start, even if it's with the phone number. Like, how's it a fresh start if I just give it back to like friends and stuff? But it's important to do that. Forward all the mail, put like return to sender, wrong address if you get mail, and just like mail it right back to them if you have to do so. Answering the phone in different voices doesn't work. Telling the person, oh, they're not here anymore, they're still gonna call. So just expect that and know. And like we were talking about, like, situate your life and then leave if that's what you have to do. And again, there's the Aftermath Foundation if you're helping someone in the Sea Org, or even, I think they'll probably even help like regular people who are leaving Scientology, or staff members, like anyone who's leaving Scientology. So I would look into that. Their information, again, you can just Google Aftermath Foundation and it will come up. And yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about in today's video. I have a lot more to talk about on the subject of Scientology. I've been posting videos as well on my drama channel about beauty drama and the beauty community. So Mango Tea, it's stevenmangotv.com, or you can just click the link down below if you want to watch other videos of mine besides Scientology. And if you can subscribe over there, even if you're not really like super interested in it, it just helps me be able to grow my platform and my audience, and it's important to me. And if you guys support me leaving Scientology and, making videos and doing this type of activism work, it's, support me and help me be able to do that sort of stuff. And yeah, that's all I want to tell you guys today. Leave a comment down below, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you on my next video. Bye, guys.